What's up, guys? The Snowman here, and today we're back with another Euro 2020, or technically speaking, Euro 2021 group preview. Today's group in focus is Group C. Please check out my other group previews as well, though, as we get closer to the main tournament this summer in June. But the four teams we're going to talk about in Group C today are the Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia. So for each nation, I want to go through how qualifying went. I also want to talk about head coaches, star players, and give my expectations for each team this summer. So let's begin with the best team on paper in Group C. They are the Netherlands. It was a relatively straightforward qualifying campaign for the Dutch. They finished second in a group that included Germany, 6 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat. That lone loss came to the Germans in Amsterdam. However, they bounced back nicely, defeating Germany in Hamburg 4-2 for a signature win. There's a lot of great individual flair with this Dutch squad, and their leading goal scorer throughout qualifying was the Liverpool man, Georginio Wijnaldum, who scored 8 goals. Memphis Depay did a bit of damage with 6 goals himself, and overall it was just nice to see the Dutch handle their business with the Euro qualifying, especially the fact that they missed out on Euro 2016 as well as the World Cup in 2018 in Russia. The head coach of the Netherlands is the young but accomplished Frank de Boer. De Boer, not the man who steered the Orange through qualifying though. That was Ronald Koeman. Koeman quit in September of 2020 to become the manager of Barcelona. So in stepped de Boer. He hasn't been here long, but he's a former Dutch defender, just 50 years old. But in the early 2010s, he led Ajax to 4 consecutive Dutch league titles, becoming the first manager ever to accomplish that feat. Ajax, the club he played most of his career for, and De Boer has also had coaching spells with Inter Milan, Crystal Palace, and in the MLS with Atlanta United. A couple of star players to single out for the Netherlands, including the 23-year-old Barcelona midfielder Frankie de Jong. De Jong, the motor in the center of the pitch, does a little bit of everything. Outstanding ability of retaining possession, helps the Dutch build from the back and create pockets of space for the attacking players. He's a budding superstar who the Dutch hope continues to blossom. And then the already established superstar, they have the Liverpool center back Virgil van Dijk, second in Ballon d'Or voting back in 2019. So many accolades the last few years for the Stonewall defender. Provides the Netherlands with a real sense of grit and toughness, but he hasn't played much in the Premier League this season because of a knee injury. So hopefully he'll be healthy by the summertime because the Dutch need him badly. Just not the same in the center of defense without Van Dijk. That was clearly evident in their recent 4-2 World Cup qualifying defeat to Turkey. And as far as expectations are concerned with the Dutch, even without Van Dijk, they'll still be a healthy favorite to win Group C. And if they do come out on top of this group, they won't have to face another group winner until the semifinals. So that bodes really well for the Dutch. Realistically, I think the semis are kind of the ceiling for the Netherlands. I still kind of have them a notch below France, Belgium, and Germany. They're my 3 main favorites for this event. But if they play to their potential, the Netherlands, they should win this group, and then we'll see how the knockout bracket shakes out. Moving on to Ukraine, who was one of the biggest and brightest surprises of the entire Euro qualifying season. They gained automatic entrance to Euro 2020 by topping a group that included both Portugal and Serbia, so no easy feat there. Undefeated throughout qualifying and conceding just 4 goals in 8 matches. And it's a very entertaining Ukrainian squad. I got a chance to watch them in a World Cup qualifier against France last week. And even without a handful of key contributors, they've got some explosive guys on the wing. Certainly held their own against France. And Ukraine, if you don't know, they're all about kind of swift, rapid, counter-attacking play. They don't boss possession consistently like some of the A-list European nations, but they're very well coached. Never seems like they're out of the game. And their leading scorer in qualifying was Roman Yaremchuk with 4 goals. Although they don't have one lead horse who kind of scores all the goals, they do their scoring by committee. The head man for Ukraine is the iconic former Milan striker Andrei Shevchenko, who, like Frank de Boer, pretty young for a manager. He's just 44 years old. This will be the first major tournament that Shevchenko is in charge for. He was hired after the Euros back in 2016, Ukraine not present at the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Shevchenko, a former Champions League winner in 2003 and a Ballon d'Or winner in 2004 with AC Milan. Also played many years for Dynamo Kiev. And a key player to watch for Ukraine is the dazzling Andrei Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko currently earning his living in the English Premier League with West Ham United, a mainstay for Ukraine since 2009. Only his manager, Shevchenko, has more international goals for his nation. Yarmolenko with 38 in over 90 caps. He's a classic winger, though. Loves to get up and down the flanks, go one-on-one against defenders, and break down back lines. Yarmolenko will be a vital threat for Ukraine's counterattack at the Euros, especially in these matches against the Dutch and the other top teams where they won't have as much possession. Ukrainian expectations, they seem to be a pretty popular dark horse pick at the moment. Ukraine, kind of one of those mid-tier European nations that might make some noise at the Euros. For me, they've got round of 16 written all over them. If they're unable to make it out of the group, it'll be a huge disappointment. However, if they do one better, make the knockout stage and win a game, make it to the quarterfinals, then all of a sudden they're the talk of the tournament. As I said, though, my opinion, they've got round of 16 written all over them. That's where I think they finish. Our third team in Group C is Austria, who got off to a very bumpy start in their qualifying journey. You can see they were also in the same qualifying group as the fourth team we're going to talk about today, North Macedonia. Also in this group was Poland and Israel, and those were the first two opponents for the Austrians. They picked up 2 losses quickly. The 4-2 defeat to Israel was a shock result, but Austria pulled it together undefeated then in their next 7 to finish as runner-up and gain automatic qualification. The brilliance of forward Marko Arnautovic was on full display. He netted 6 goals as Austria got back to the Euros for the 3rd time in the last 4 cycles. Austria's manager is a German, Franco Foda, a former defender, played for West Germany in the late 80s. He became the head coach of Austria back in January of 2018, has received some criticism the last couple of years for being a bit stubborn in his coaching philosophies and refusing to sort of adapt to his personnel, but Foda has been gifted a relatively talent-laden team. I imagine he'll be pretty amped up to coach at his first major tournament. One of the stars for Austria is the multifaceted David Alaba, who plays pretty much every position on the pitch outside of striker. Alaba has gotten used to winning big trophies with his club team Bayern Munich, especially in the last 12 months or so. His most natural position might be left back, but he's been playing a ton of center back for Bayern lately. Then with the national team, Austria likes to employ Alaba in a more advanced role, typically in the center of the midfield, so he can aid the center backs in making tackles while also being an engine and helping build possession. He's a 7-time Austrian Footballer of the Year. The 28-year-old Alaba, simply one of the best in the world. And the expectations for Austria are pretty similar to that of Ukraine. Both are around a 5-1 odds to win the group. However, they both have about a 65 to 70% chance of making it to the knockout round. Remember, at least 2 teams from each group survive, move on to the knockout stage, while also the 4 best third-place teams advance as well. So Austria can definitely finish top 3 in this group. It's worth noting, though, Austria hasn't recorded a single victory at a major finals since the 1990 World Cup when they defeated the USA. In fact, they've never won a single match at the European Championships in their nation's history. So if and when they make it out of this group, it's going to be a big deal for the Central Europeans. The final team in Group C is the prototypical underdog. Nobody's expecting a whole lot out of North Macedonia. Euro 2020 will actually be their first ever major tournament as an independent nation. Up until 1991, they were part of the former Yugoslavia. North Macedonia's qualifying group was the one we just took a peek at with Austria, but they sort of defied all odds just to finish 3rd place in this group. The highlight was a 2-1 victory over Slovenia in their capital of Skopje, and that sent them through to the Euro qualifying playoffs along with their performance in the UEFA Nations League. From then on, it was a 4-team mini knockout bracket where they beat Kosovo in the semifinals 2-1. And then the moment of magic for the Macedonians, the 1-0 win over Georgia in November of 2020, where their captain Goran Pandev scored the game-winning goal and made history for North Macedonia. Their manager is Igor Angelovsky, the longest tenured coach in Group C, 44-year-old former midfielder. He was appointed back in October of 2015 after a successful couple of seasons coaching in the Macedonian Domestic League. And the best player and heartbeat of North Macedonia is by far striker Goran Pandev, now 37 years old, but still going strong in Italy's Serie A, where he's played for most of his career. Pandev has scored goals for Lazio, Inter, Napoli, and Genoa, where he's been playing since 2015. the all-time leader in both appearances and goals scored for his country. And again, it was only fitting that Pandev scored the goal that sent them through to Euro 2020. Not just a great finisher, but a very adept passer with tremendous vision from the number 9 position. I'm very excited to watch Pandev play on the biggest stage. Expectations, it's maybe a bit unfair to anticipate too much from North Macedonia at these finals. Just the fact that they're mixing it up with the top dogs will be enough for most fans, and they are actually the highest ranked team at Euro 2020 according to the World FIFA rankings. They're ranked at 65 as of April 2021, so the odds aren't in their favor in terms of advancing to the knockout stage or even scoring many goals for that matter. However, I'm just hoping for a couple of highlights, a couple of great moments. Maybe they get a draw in one of these 3 matches. Anything more, and it'll be absolute dreamland for the North Macedonians. All right, thank you so much for watching my Euro Group C preview. Please check out my other group previews as well, especially as we get closer to the Euros this summer. If you want more soccer and football content, subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media. And I'll be back real soon with more Euro and more sports content. Cheers.